Hey Mountain Tribe! This design, Climate Change is Real, is part of our new clothing line called Protect. A portion of each item with this design is given to Polar Bears International, which fights to protect polar bears and the sea ice they depend on.
Polar Bears International is the only nonprofit solely dedicated to wild polar bear conservation. Our work is driven by passion for positive solutions.
Through our research, through our education and outreach, we have the ability to inform and inspire people on what they need to do as a society if we want to save polar bears.
Whether we are conducting our own research or funding other expert studies, at PBI we are racing to unlock a future for polar bears in the Arctic forever.
The Arctic is an extremely challenging place to work. It's remote, which makes it super expensive to do some of the science and monitoring we need to do to understand polar bears. But at PBI, we love that challenge.
Sea ice habitat over the whole Arctic has been declining by about 13% per decade. Polar bears depend on the sea ice because that's where they can catch their prey. Polar bears are good swimmers, but they can't swim as well as seals. They can only catch them from the surface of the sea ice.
Arctic sea ice is such an important ecosystem. It's not only affecting the Arctic, but it actually acts like Earth's air conditioner. So by protecting that Arctic sea ice, it's good for polar bears, but it's also good for people.
Some of the new projects we have going on, which we're really excited about, include less invasive methods of monitoring polar bears.
Non-invasive research is really important when you're looking at behavior. If we can put out equipment that does all the work, all the logging, we can remove the human element and observe that animal in its natural environment.
And that kind of information is ultimately going to be important when we're trying to understand how humans that might be occupying or exploring habitats near denning areas might influence those bears. If we understand their behavior to begin with, we can then monitor how it might change and ultimately develop ways to manage it.
We really are trying to make sure people who work, play, and live in the North have the information and tools they need to stay safe.
We've got a program here that we're piloting in Churchill, Manitoba. We're using a compact surveillance radar to alert authorities when polar bears are coming into a community long before they get to the first house or the first street.
Creative problem solving happens every day, from working with scientists to ensure that they have the equipment that they need in the field, to managing complex media and outreach schedules.
People need to know about a species in order to act on behalf of that species and protect their habitats. Polar Bears International is uniquely poised to connect people to polar bears in the Arctic. The Tender Connections program allows us to connect scientists with viewers around the globe. And the goal of outreach like this is to instill hope and inspire action in our viewers.
We have a mobile broadcast studio, and we reach out to classrooms all over the world to talk about polar bears and the Western Hudson Bay. Just the other day, we had a Skype chat with an entire school in Kiev, and we got to show them their very first polar bear, and when that comes up on the screen, it's really cool.
We love going into classrooms to talk to kids about polar bears. Seeing their faces light up when we show them videos and photos and talk about our research gives us motivation to keep going and keep doing what we're doing. Our awareness campaign days, like International Polar Bear Day and Arctic Sea Ice Day and Polar Bear Week, help spread our conservation message across the globe all year long.
As humans, we have a big responsibility, not only to take care of ourselves, but to take care of all living things. Through our website and our live cams, we're able to connect people not only to the Arctic, but to polar bears. And once you look a polar bear in the eye, you'll be inspired. We need your support. Without you, we could not conduct the research and science that informs people to act on behalf of polar bears.
There's still time for hope. All too often we hear a lot of overwhelming news, particularly about the Arctic and polar bears, but we know if we take actions now, we'll see sea ice respond in kind for polar bears, and we'll also see changes that will make life better for all of us.